All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start. I kind of want to get going here. I'll give you folks a couple more minutes later on to go through that last problem. But let's go through at least the first one. So today we're doing our quiz on 8.4. We're also going to kind of finish up 8.3 hypothesis test for means, and then we're going to start in on 9.1 for 2 samples. You have due today Connect Math 8.1, 8.4. And also Excel Lab 7 is officially due today. You can turn it in late for full credit up through next Thursday. Also due today, late for full credit, is Lab 5. It was due last Thursday. Today is the last day to turn it in late for full credit. After that, you'll lose 10% for, or more, depending on how late it is. Monday, you have Connect Math 8.3. Make sure that that's the means. Make sure that you use 1-bar stats on your calculator. So put your, you're going to be given numbers, given data. So here's a bunch of data. It expects you to find the mean and the standard deviation yourselves. So how do you find the mean and standard deviation from a bunch of data? Put them into list 1. Do stat calc 1-bar stats of list 1 only. Remember we did it last class? And that will give you your mean and your S, your X bar and your S. So make sure you do that for Connect Math 8.3. And then also you have some more other ones coming up. Someone please remind me on Monday to reopen the quizzes for chapter 7 and 8, and I will reopen those so people can get a second shot at those if they want before the exam. The exam will be on Monday, November 21st. Also, if you want to review, well, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, and Andrea will be available to review on Monday if you want to take the test on Tuesday the 22nd. Monday the 22nd. This is going to be, the exam will be on Monday the 22nd. But if you want to take the exam on Tuesday the 23rd, Andrea will review with you if you want on Monday.
The exam is chapter 7, 8, 9.
The exam is chapter 7, 8, 9, exactly. Yeah. All right. Good. What if you haven't done an assignment? Do it anyways. Right? Make sure you get them in. You'll lose some points, but not all the points. Right? For Connect Math, you lose 1% per day for every problem that's not done on time. And then Excel Labs, obviously, if you're a week late, you get that first week for free. After that, I take off more and more, but you get at least 50% off even if you're fairly late with it. So make sure you get those in. All right, so how do you find the critical value? For a t-distribution, when do I use a t-distribution? Mean, Mr. T, right? Mr. T is really mean looking. If it's a mean, use a t-distribution. How do you find it? Use a t-table. Use the degrees of freedom n-1. That tells you what row to use. And then figure out whether you have a one-tailed or two-tailed test. That will tell you which row across the top to use to determine which column to use. And then use your alpha. That tells you what column. And that will give you your critical value. If it is right-tailed, then your critical value should be what? Positive. If it's left-tailed, negative. Perfect. For a z distribution, you do the same thing, only you use the bottom row where degrees of freedom equals infinity. That's your z table. When do I use the z distribution? When it's a proportion. How do I know when it's a mean versus a proportion?
So it says.
A mean will always say mean or average and standard deviation, always. Or it might be a mean in disguise where I give you a list of numbers and you have to find the mean yourself. Right, so that would be the other way, a mean in disguise, because if your data is numbers, it's a mean. If your data is yeses and nos, that's a proportion. If your data is numbers, that's kind of the secret hidden ways you might get a mean. All right. How do you find the test statistic? You take your sample value, in other words, your x bar or your p hat. You subtract what you expect to get. So that's from your claim, your P naught or your mu naught. And you divide by your standard deviation divided by square root of n. Well, your standard deviation, which is your standard deviation divided by square root of n. Should rephrase that. These are the 5 steps of the hypothesis test. Step 1, state your hypotheses, identify the claim. Step 2, find your critical value and draw a picture. Critical value from the t-table. And step 3, find your test statistic. Step 4, decide to reject or not reject H naught. And step 5, summarize results for your claim. Step 4 is all about H naught. Step 5 is all about the claim. All right, so let's do quiz number 1. Let's see, what's my claim? Well, first of all, is this a mean or a proportion?
Mean.
How do you know it's a mean? It says mean, right? Okay, good deal. And it says standard deviation. Oh yeah, there you go. All right, so then what somebody does, one person who is just a really strong student in my other class, what she does is she writes down all the stuff. So what's your claim, first of all? Find the word claim.
A mean less than 124.
Yep, the claim is IQs of SAT professors have a mean less than 124. So my claim is the mean is less than 124. Okay, good. So let's figure it out. So that definitely tells me my P naught. So then my P naught is 124. Or sorry, not my P naught, my mu naught. My mu naught is 124. And then we have a sample of 19 professors. What's that?
N.
N, yep. This is your N. Had a mean, so now we're talking about sample stuff. So we're talking about our sample mean, our sample standard deviation. Had a mean of 120. So that's my
X bar.
X bar, great. And then a standard deviation of 6. That's my S. Yep. Okay. And then what's my alpha? Yep, 0.01, exactly. Significance level is your alpha. Those are the same thing. All right, so now I have the pieces. I'm going to go ahead and write in my step 1. H naught. H naught is always what?
Equals.
Equals. So in this case, what? P or mu? Mu equals what? 124. H1 is what? Mu is less than 124. That's my claim. So next to that, and parentheses, I'm going to write which word? Support or reject?
Support.
Remember, we support number 1. We reject what's not. So we support H1. We reject H naught. Now remember that? That was a kind of that's mnemonic. Or you can remember that H1 comes second and alphabetically S comes second. Either way. Don't try to guess. It's going to be going to torment you. Number 2, find our critical value. Draw a little hill. Let's see. Left side is going to be left side or right side or two-tailed?
Left side.
Yep, left side, less than. So I need to find my critical value. It better be negative. So I'm going to bust out my t-table. And I'm going to take a look at it. Let's see. One-tailed. It's a mean, so I need my degrees of freedom. Ooh. So it's one-tailed. It's a mean, so I'm going to have degrees of freedom of n minus 1, 18. And my alpha is going to be 0.01. So I'm going to look those things up and say, okay, one-tailed, that's going to be the third row that I'm going to use to determine it, and my alpha is 0.01, so that's going to be the middle column. And degrees of freedom 18, slide down to 18, 2.552. Negative 2.552. Negative 2.552. Critical value. I'm going to label it just because I feel better if I label it. Then I won't screw up later. Okay. Step 3. Test stat. Let's see what I got, which was my X bar. Find that one. What was that? 120. Can't. Well, 120. There we go. 120 minus 124 over 6 divided by square root of 19. Oops, not 10, 19. Okay, so that's negative 4 over 6 over square root of 19. 1.3765. So you'll get negative
290.
Great. So that's in here somewhere. Negative 2.906. That's my test stat. All right, so then clearly this is going to be, it's in the rejection region. So, right, so I'm going to step 4, reject who? Reject what?
H naught.
H naught. Yep. Remember, step 4 is all about H naught. So then step 5, since I rejected H naught, do I have enough evidence?
Yes.
Yeah, totally guilty, totally convicted, totally enough evidence. So enough evidence to blank my claim
Support.
that less than that stat props have IQ less than 124. Okay, so does this support my claim or does this reject my claim?
Support.
Support. Look, it's totally way over there. Absolutely supports my claim. Right? To support. That comes from step 1. Good? All right. Now, if you did not do number 2, take a look at number 2. Is number 2, is that a mean or a proportion? How do you know? There's a percentage, and it didn't say mean or average, right? No mean, no average, no standard deviation, no list of numbers. Okay, so this is similar to one you've done before, only difference is the alpha is 10%. So I'm going to give you folks another 5 minutes to do this one. Go.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Yeah, so if you're doing a complaint,
Let's go through this one.
Drops off.
What's the claim? Yeah, 17% R. So P equals 17%. So step 1, my H naught is always equals. So what equals? P or Q or P or mu? P equals 17%. That's my claim. So I'm going to use the word what? Reject or support? Support.
Reject.
We support number 1, we reject what's not. This is H naught. So whenever H naughts are claimed, we're going to reject. Later on. We're going to use reject in the summary, in step 5. So understand that?
yeah.
Because why? Because rejecting H naught rejects my claim. Are we all right with that part?
Yes.
H1. So if H naught's my claim, then what's H1? Yep, not equal to 17%. Find my critical value. I'm going to draw a picture. If it's two-tailed, there should be a left and a right shaded. And this is two-tailed. It is it's a z-score. And my Z. Or you know what I have some students do is they put degrees of freedom equals infinity because it's a z-score. So let's use that. And alpha. Alpha is what? 0.1. So if you look it up, you're going to get positive, negative 1.645. Put them in your picture. And then we're going to move down to our test stat. So that's going to be my p hat. Aha. Random select 200 people, 17 work. So, and are they giving me a percentage, or are they giving me the number of yeses? Number of yeses. How do I know? Because it's not 42%. There's no percent symbol there. Everybody on board with that part? So my p hat is going to be 42 out of 200.21. So 2.21 minus 0.17 over, let's see, 0.17. If my P is 0.17, then my Q is 0.83 over 200. And you got 1.506, most of you, I think?
Yeah.
So, or something like that, because I'm very close to that. So 1.506, that's my test stat. If you're off by a little bit, that's not a big deal. And so you got when you 1.50 to 1.51 is just fine. So then step 4, is this the rejection region or not?
No.
Not. So do not reject. Reject what?
H naught.
H naught. Don't forget the H naught. You'll lose half a point on all those problems if you don't put the H naught in there. Step 5. So do I have enough evidence? No. This is evidence over here. I do not have enough evidence. So not enough evidence.
Stop one.
Remember that when these two go together, this knot and that knot go together. They're either both knots, or they're both yes, or either both aren't. Not enough evidence to blank the claim. What's my claim?
H naught.
That 17% of young people are obese. Okay, so what was my claim? My claim was equals, so I'm going to use the word reject. My claim was H naught. Not enough evidence to reject the claim. In other words, the claim might be true. I don't have enough evidence to reject it. It might not be true, but I can't reject it. There's not enough evidence to say no. Good? All right. All right. So p-value. P-value, that's the probability of getting a test statistic at least as extreme as yours. It is rejected if the p-value is small. So you folks need a minute to put your stuff away, and do they need to like converse about this with your neighbors? Check in with your neighbors about this? No? Okay, so put your notes away, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. Or your quiz away. Get your notes out. All right. I'll go ahead and pause the recording maybe. Stop it.